Two. Good morning, everybody. So we're getting set up here, running a little late this morning. I apologize. Just trying to get through everything. So I'll spend a little extra time at the end of the day just because I started late. But there's a ton to go over. And I know a lot of people are trying to figure out where we're going to go here and what's going to happen with this market. So let's go through a couple things that I think are pertinent. Hey, Cameron, good morning. So let me just, hey, Evan, good morning. So we'll let people funnel in here a little bit. We're starting a little late today. Probably get some stragglers. I'll try and go a little bit longer today because of that, because of the late start. Just a lot of moving parts today. So throw this in. So the very first thing that I would focus on is today. Good morning, Mark. The very first thing I would focus on is what is going on with these indexes. So in other words, what exactly happened yesterday? Okay. And now we're seeing things bidding up a little bit. That's great. Good news. Yeah, I need a little more coffee. Actually, I'm going to grab some right now. So what we have to do is just kind of focus on what happened. Okay. The fact that we're actually bidding up today, to me, is actually worse than if we would just not do that. I guess is the best way to put it. So in other words, I'm more concerned about what we're going to do going forward, right? So this is where we're going to start today, just so we all understand this. Okay. This is what happened yesterday. This is where we rejected, right, on the Qs, and then we'll get into names. But this is where you rejected, okay? That's a pretty technical rejection. And the point that I was trying to make is this is your trend line on your RSI versus this, okay? That's not what you want to see, not at all. What you want to focus on, okay, what you really want to focus on is what do we do now with that? Well, this is telling you that you have an issue, and it's telling you that you're at the upper end of the channel. So it's telling you to back off, to step off the gas, period. I mean, that's how you need to read that. Okay, there's no other way to read this right now except you need to back off the gas. Okay, so as everyone's excited about coming in, putting trades on because, Nvidia was at 345 or 6 yesterday, and now we're at 320, and it's a bargain. You need to be really careful here because you're really going to have to see buying and how sustained that buying is today. Maybe it is sustained. We just don't know yet. But for me, this is protect your capital. Absolutely protect your capital mode. And I think that's what you have to focus on. So, as far as the other indexes, I mean, the SPY, and this is where you're at. Look, when you fail these levels, you didn't get up there, but it's nothing to come back to this 21-day. I'm not talking about this massive bear market. I don't see signs of that yet. But do I see a correction? Yeah, I see us getting down to possibly this 392. I think that's possible. So I think we really need to be cognizant of that. Really very focused on that. So that's what I would focus on. In regards to very specific names, I'll start addressing them. In regards to, let's just start here. Yeah, I closed out those calls for a reason yesterday. We did okay with them. I just don't know what we're stepping into today. And this is not a chart that is screaming, you need to buy me. This is screaming, we have a problem. So this is the issue that you're seeing with this. Okay, this is, as everybody knows, basically a shooting star, right? It's right at the top of the channel. So if you break 161, you're at a minimum technically setting up to go to 156, 157. So my point on this was we're in this from 140, 151, 157.30. So our stop's 147, right? So if you're not, and it really probably should be up more here now, 152, but if you're not willing to go through that and have that kind of pain, then you may just want to move on if it takes out that lower low, because that could absolutely happen. I mean, this can accentuate. And, you don't usually just reverse these bars and go up. I mean, this is clear. This is rejection all day long, right? So that's not what you want to see. You need to be really cognizant of that. It's not something that I want to own. And you saw this pattern everywhere yesterday. Okay. So, here you're through on Microsoft and you reject, right? This is probably where you're going to, right? Or have the potential to go to 332. That's why I was saying this morning for the newsletter, if you're not comfortable with these stops, you need to just sell at the lower low and get out of the way, because to think that this can't get worse is just delusional. This can get a lot worse. And you are seeing signs of that here. Like, look, charts going up. Here's Microsoft. Okay. That's pointing down. This is not small volume. It was not a light selling day. It was not like, oh, nobody's trading, we're selling down. It was incessant selling all day long. So, there's a reason in the trading room why I said at the, at that one point in the day, like, hey, get out of the way if you're, concerned. And obviously that worked out fairly well, but I'm not interested in buying this dip yet. I'm not saying that I won't feel that way at 11 or 12 o'clock. I'm saying right now with the information that we have, I don't see how anyone is excited about buying this dip. If anything, I'd be on the other side of that and going, thank God we're rallying. I can sell more into it. That's where my head would be. So just so you understand my thought process as we talk. So let's just keep going. Hey, Brandon, good morning. So Tesla. So you're bidding up a little bit. If I was in Tesla or I had calls on Tesla, whatever, I would really be very careful here, and I'd probably be selling into this. I really wouldn't care that I'm up. Whatever I'm up in, I would get out. I wouldn't be playing with this right now. You have this doji, and until this doji makes a decision, you have nothing. Okay, and the doji's red, so that's not a great sign. It's already telling you which way it's leaning. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. But we have to understand something, and this is what we went through yesterday with this. Bear with me one second. Okay, that's your range. No matter how you slice it, that's your range. And I think it's important to know that you failed the 174.50 level, and right now, where are you sitting? 174.25, 175.30. You're trying to get over it. Maybe you do. Maybe you don't. It's definitely not something that I'm chasing today. I would be on the other side of that trade if I was going to do anything. I'd be selling anything that's up 20, 30 points right now just to get out of the way and let it sort itself out. Now, if you get over this 1202, you're going to see a lot of buying step in. But until I'm over that, I don't see a sense in doing anything with it. I really don't. So, Apple, we just went over ASML and Nvidia. So ASML, look, I like the name, but you're rejecting, and you're rejecting hard here. You're bouncing, and your hope is that you set up to bounce here again. But you've rejected this level going straight across. You can see that. So it's not something that, you want to be picking at the bottom yet. Here, look at this, just so you can understand this, and we can get rid of this line. Right? And I talk about this pattern all the time, right? If you go on the assumption that these rising wedges are not bullish, even though you're going up, and you understand how they probably are going to end, this is how it ended, right? So it's probably not something that you're going to want to just jump right into. I would be very cautious of things like this. This can get worse. And, that's kind of what I've been trying to explain to people. This could get, thanks, recently viewed tab. This can get a lot worse. So I really think people need to focus on that. It's not a, it's not a thing. It's not look, it can get worse. I don't know how else to say it. And to think that could be just a one-day event, you need to protect your capital. Even if it means you don't pick off the bottom, you need to protect your capital. One of the things that I find very interesting is that when I'm discussing this topic, I'm not seeing the same interest in the topic of protecting your capital as people looking for the next big move. So to me, that means that there could be more pain, that people just don't understand what's going on or what happened yesterday, and why the reversal is so poignant. But I think that you need to be aware of that. So ASML, I would avoid. Nvidia, if you have a position, you hold the position. For me, right now, if I was to look at this, Nvidia is technically a short if it breaks this level. Okay, if you break 319, you should be shorted, right? Our stop's 294. As I stated earlier, you're going to have to be careful here. If you're not willing to risk something like that, and if you're not willing to risk that, then you have an issue here, and it's something that you need to address. So, because this can easily keep coming down. We clearly rejected yesterday, and you have a bearish engulfing pattern right here. So at the top of your resistance, that's not what you want to see. You also have no buying, more selling, right? Low buying, more selling. That's telling you which way it's leaning. If you learn how to read this, okay, your selling's accentuating. Okay, this is what's going on, and this is what you have to pay attention to, right? We were looking for the rally yesterday, and instead we're getting these patterns. We're getting negative divergences all over the place. So when that starts to happen, I'll call them spidey senses because I'm older and I used to watch Spider-Man, but my spidey senses start tingling, and you need to pay attention. You really need to pay attention. But I do, so I'm in hold off mode right now. So here's the thing that's going on right now that I would say, okay, I don't know how this plays out. What I would argue, here's what I would argue, Sina, and this is the question. So here's what I would argue. Today was the day earnings, they came out. Okay, so let's just play this out, see where we're at. All right, so this is what's going on, right? To me, I would let this play out. Okay, you bought the option. You want to see how it did. You're now seeing how it did. Okay, lower low, everything's trading down, Sina. It's not something that I would be in a panic to get out of. What I would do if it was me is I would very simply go here and I would look at what's going on, get rid of the indicators, and I would look at the first half hour and just try to get a picture of what really transpired. So earnings came out and they ran it up and then they brought you back down to life, right? Now, there's your level, pretty clean. So what you could do with what I just showed you, Sina, is now you could just keep raising or lowering your stop, right? If you want to stay in it. If you want to stay in it, you think it's going to get worse. You just went through the pain. You might as well see if it's going to work out, right? But start looking at these levels. You see them, right? Start using those levels I just pointed out. You can see how you broke here, how this became a bearish engulfing, how you tried to rally, how the rally failed, how you broke, right? This becomes the H. You broke the H. You never came back from it. I mean, you can see all that, right? So these are levels that I would use, and I keep walking it down. I don't know what's going to happen to the implied volatility and the premium of the option that you own, but I would almost expect that if it went in the money, you're going to be okay. So I hope that's helpful. RBLX. So here's what's going on with RBLX. Okay. And this is, last night, I even said it last night in the trading room. I was like, if you can't handle this breaking down today, right? And our stop was 120 on it. You're going to get triggered. I mean, it's that kind of environment. This is a complete and utter rejection. Okay. There's no other way to say it, right? You can sell on this, or you could see if it's going to build a morning star, or maybe it goes back up tomorrow. That's up to you to make that decision. But for me, this is not something I'm interested in buying until it sorts itself out, right? Like this bar is very different here. Let me just show you the differences and click off of this. And we don't need the indicators for this, but let me just explain the differences, okay? Well, you know what I want? I want the volume on this. So let me just go here and get off these levels for a moment. And we can leave the RSI, I guess. Let's get rid of it. So these are the differences. See this bar? This is the close. This is the open, right? Bearish, but look at the volume, right? Hardly sold. So when I get the doji, I don't need much to reverse because the selling wasn't as great. Okay, here's your red day, right? Here's the green day before it. That's telling you that this day is not really what we thought it was, right? So they used this to sell. They popped it up, lured us in, and we bought. And then they closed at the low of the day. So you need to really watch this because this could easily come back down to 103, 104 in a heartbeat. So, and that's what people have to understand. Yes, can you rally? Yes, but this can get a lot worse. I feel like I've been saying that a lot this morning. BNTX. Yeah, it really kind of seems like this has got its mojo back. So for names, yeah, this looks like this looks like something that might continue to go higher. Maybe people start buying these they're beaten down from there. Maybe people start buying them. The fact that you closed above the 50 is really all you need to look at, right? I mean, that's really what you want to focus on. If you're closing above the 50-day moving average, okay, that's pretty good. So if you take out that high, I would say you could look at this. I don't see the same problems with this company that I see here, right? Like to me, this company has issues. And I think it's why it's below the 50. This one's not below the 50. I mean, same space, but this product is well better received. And I don't want to get into the whole vaccine debate. All I'm saying to you is when you look at this, their product is better received globally. Okay. And so therefore it may be becoming the de facto one, like Johnson & Johnson. I don't know. I don't know enough about what, countries are thinking about their healthcare, but technically looking at this, we broke the 50. If you get over 323, yeah, you're going to see buying. You're going to see buying over 323. And this is the kind of stock that works in a market like this. Okay. This is really the kind of stock that can work in a market like this. So something to consider. So, and again, I would just keep moving the stop up on it. So GME, so just FYI, I have a position in this. Look, I'm looking to see if we can break this level. I think that the buying that we saw yesterday and today, I think it might continue. I'm waiting to see if we break above this. Okay. If we don't, we don't. But I'd be watching that level fairly closely. I think it has the potential. That's the kind of stock that can move in an environment like this. So I think that this can move, and I like it. But I'd watch that level I just pointed out. UPST. So this is what we may see happen. And I'm not so sure we're going to see it yet, but I just want to point this out. See how these bars are getting smaller and smaller? So see this? You know what? Hold on one second. Let me just shut the window. I can hear the darn garden. Okay. So what you want to see is you want to see how these bars are getting smaller. Like here, look at this. Okay. So what we're seeing is see how this is getting shorter and then shorter. And now the wicks are where? They're at the bottom. This is kind of setting up for maybe we've had enough selling. And it's definitely something that's on my radar now. I just want to watch it. I'm not in a big hurry to buy it. But these are the kinds of trades that you might want to be looking at right now, the ones that are beaten down. Usually this happens towards the end of the year, but we might start seeing people pick at them here, right? And it might slow down the selling that we're seeing. That's very possible. So it's something to definitely consider. So let's just keep going. Cost and knee. So I was looking at this, and you're going to just see people continue to put money in names like this right now. Okay, it's a simple name. They don't have to worry about it. People need their products. They're going to go to the store and buy them. I mean, that's pretty clear what they're doing, right? I mean, you can see that. I mean, it's broken out here, and since it's broken out from this level, October 20th, right? You can see how this is just. Well, I'll just draw it all the way out so you can see it, but. Right. Since you broke this upper trend line, what'd you do? You're up almost 75 points on Costco of all names, right? So obviously the earnings helped, but you can see where you're going with this. I mean, for me, it's not really a buy, but could you trade it? Sure. You might just still see money pour into a name like this. It's very possible that happens. So something to consider. Sure. Now, in regards to knee, I looked at this yesterday. I wasn't really a fan of this one. It just seems like every time it gets up here, we just fade. The one that I was looking at was this. This saw the most action yesterday. This RSI is lying out perfectly. I've got above average volume. I like Duke better if you're trying to trade these names right now. Just get above that 50 and it could go. But I look at knee, and you really want to be buying these at the top of the channel? Like, I mean, these don't break. They're not growth stocks, right? So they don't trade like growth stocks. So you have to see. I have to see what happens. Snow, and what could I get back into BABA to short more? All right, so let's look at snow. So snow, we got stopped out yesterday, obviously. It was one that was in the newsletter, and we were pretty clear about what we had to watch. The channel break. I mean, this is pretty clean what happened yesterday. So you broke, right? You're below the 50, but this was our channel, and this is what we were using for our stop to make sure we protected the profit. And you can just see what's going on here. It's a complete breakdown. There's no reason to go near this. Could it bounce? Absolutely, it can bounce, and there could be a bounce trade there. You could bounce back up to the 21-day or halfway up this bar. And there could be a trade there. To me, it's just not really worth the risk at this point. You need to see if you're going to hold. Before I would even go near it, I'd like to see a test to the 50 like we saw here and see if that holds. And if that holds, well, then I can take a look at it. But until then, I have no interest. I just don't. I need to see what's going to happen. So. And BABA. So let's talk about BABA for a moment. So, this, you can see a bounce in this, okay, especially in the kind of environment you're in right now. So you can see people, one, cover their short positions because they want to protect their capital, okay? You could see that. And two, you're seeing some bottom fishing in some names here, and that can continue. So it's definitely something to think about, okay? I mean, it's not probably going to go away. So just think about that for a little bit, all right? That can definitely continue. In regards to shorting it here, not really. I mean, I gave a couple different spots before the 143 level, 141, and then you gave another one yesterday, 138.5. I mean, they're your levels. Now you're going to start watching to make sure, because now that you're down like this, you could start really, hold on, let me just blow this up so you can see this. So now that we're down like this, right, you could see it curl back up and try and test some of these levels. And that's what you would look for. I would not try to short it maybe until I got back to the 50-day. I mean, you're just getting to a point now where the trade should be on and letting the trade work. So I wouldn't chase that. Especially if the market rallies. If you have like a market rally, people are going to cover things, right? And they're going to cover their shorts. So something to think about. The shorts that we had on even yesterday, I mean, the BABA worked, the mRNA didn't, but just something to think about. I don't see a big rush here to short this now. I like it as a short, but it needs to run. We did those. I hope you saw them, Adam. Oh, not that. I'm sorry. Where am I? Here. Janish, I just did both of them. I hope you saw them. Shop. So, yeah, I mean, it's not really what you want to see, is it? So here's your rejection the day before, right? We talked about these. And then when you broke, that's it. So now you're weak and now you're through the entire flag. I mean, it's not what you want to see at all. Let me just see something. So yeah, now you're sitting, watching, waiting, right? So you got to see how it acts. I mean, for me, this was their stop, right? So, I mean, using that stop saved us, another $50. You broke out, you failed. I mean, we saw this on Friday, right? We saw this reversal coming. Well, we didn't see the whole reversal coming, but we saw this on Friday. We saw these charts. They were all duplicates on Friday, right? I mean, we saw this. So you saw some signs of this. I don't think it's something that you need to be rushing into here now. What are your thoughts on Elliott wave theory? If you find value in it, use it. I know people that use it. I know people that don't use it. I would just say that I wouldn't tie myself to just one thing and say that's a be all end all. But I know people that use it and they're happy with it. It's not something that I go out and use a lot. What I said about Nvidia was this. What we're doing with Nvidia is relatively simple. Right? We have a position. We've been in the position for some time, right? These are the places that we've been in the position. This is our stop. In regards to this, Laura, weekly on Wednesdays, this newsletter comes out for free. So you're welcome to follow along in it there. I mean, that's the game plan right now. Now, what it does this morning, that's up to everybody. To me, if it breaks this low and you're not willing to ride it down to the 21-day moving average, then you need to sell it because that could definitely happen. Okay. So people think that, we sold down yesterday, so this is over. If you sold down yesterday, you still have to deal with the retail that doesn't look at the market all day long that's going to sell this morning, right? So you still have those people that you have to get out of the way. So something to think about. Yeah, when you broke out, here's what got me, and this is why I put it in the top 10. Okay. For those that watch that top 10 video, the fact that here's this point right here, right? This high, and that we closed over it for the first time was pretty telling. Okay. This was pretty telling stuff. These peaks here, the high peak, right? Even though we're not higher, right? That was a little bit of a sign that the magnitude might get greater, right? Which presents opportunity. And if you come across here, you haven't been here since here. So that was all very attractive to me. It is extremely aggressive. I have no idea how they do December 7th on earnings. I don't think this is a valuation play, to say the least. I'm trading momentum. That's all I'm looking at with it. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. But if it breaks this 295.55 level, you're definitely going to see short covering. So we're going to have to see how that plays out today. Yeah, I do think that, Terry. I mean, like the one thing I said, and I stand by it, is you're seeing signs of a possible bottom. And this is what I was trying to point out. So we're way off this 50-day moving average. Like, to me, when you get over 20% away from it, you kind of pay attention, right? So, and I think we're right there at 25%. So I just use 20% as a gauge where I might start seeing a snapback, and then I start seeing if I can identify a possible pattern. What you're seeing here is this range right here. See how that RSI ticked up? See how this is pointing down? That there's usually, if you follow along, these kinds of trades work for us. The other thing I would say is this is the first time that you've had all price rejection on the sell side, right? Not on the buy side. So I understand the bar is still red, but to me, this is setting up. And it doesn't mean I'm not saying I'm setting up to go back to 295, or I'm saying that I could probably bounce maybe to the top of this, right? That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying anything more than that. So I would watch how this plays out, and then we can kind of go from there. Disney, I'll do as well. So Disney, look, the point I was getting at yesterday is yes, lower low. Since we broke down, okay, on earnings, you have not had a green day. Okay. I don't think it's a coincidence that you had a green day yesterday, right? So I don't think that you're having a coincidence on that. I think you need to look at names like this that have been beaten down because you might see these rally as you see the other ones sell off, right? So the one thing about this market that's happening, and it's based upon social media and just access to information faster and faster, rotations are faster. Okay, sell-offs are deeper. So the game's changed a lot because of that. So, I'm thinking this goes out to December, end of December before it bottoms. It might bottom, now in Thanksgiving because everything's sped up. So we just have to really watch what we're doing. I just think that you're best looking at the chart instead of going in with, I have my thesis on what I think is going to happen, but I let the chart tell me. And this is clearly telling you that you might be near a bottom. So let's look at VZ. So, these are completely different kinds of companies. Like, do I think people might be buying yield? Yes, I do. I think people might be looking at buying yield. If you draw this across, you're seeing some similar patterns here, right? So here you've bottomed, here you took out a lower low and this didn't bottom, right? Now you have more volume on Verizon than you've ever had before. Okay, people are just buying yield and saying, you know what, I'll sit with this. And if I take out this low, I'll just get out of the way. That's what people are doing, right? And they're like, all right, if I buy this, maybe it can get up to 52, 53, and I make 4 or 5% or whatever their dividend is. I don't have it in front of me. And they go from there. That's kind of my thought process. You have to see how that plays out. These are not really my kind of ideas, but you could, again, be saying the same exact thing here, Terry. Exact same thing, right? Positive divergence. Hopefully you can see that. If you haven't watched that video, you might want to, the RSI video. But, right, you can see this pretty cleanly. Well, just even draw it from where we started from here. So, right. So I think that that's interesting as well. Yeah, there's value investors that are trying to pick this apart. You're right in the midst of when everybody buys this, right? And then you have your swings. You go higher and lower. But, yeah, that could definitely work. There's no question about it. That's the kind of stuff you need to be looking for. GME I covered. I hope you saw it. XLA. Yeah, got him. I was looking at that yesterday. This is not really the move I expected. Now, the thing about these kinds of moves and the thing about the energy sector is people get news on the energy sector before it's released, right? So we saw everybody globally saying, hey, we're going to take pricing of oil down by tapping reserves and doing this and doing that. And that's what they're doing. Okay, globally, that's happening. That news came out. Now, you could actually go up on that news because that news was obviously leaked days ahead by, I don't think there's any question that people don't know that there's oil lobbyists all over Washington, and then they're notified that this is coming, so they hedge themselves. And they hedge oil. So oil will drop, right? And now the news comes out, and then maybe it stabilizes and goes back up. So this is very interesting to look at. I just don't see anything that's overly compelling with it. So, hey, Anna. So Twillo starting to show positive divergence with potential double bottom. Yeah, that's the kind of trade that, yeah, that can definitely work. You can see it. It's really the same thing, right? You're seeing this pattern a lot. So, right? So, they don't mean that it's just going to reverse automatically, but when you start doing that, yeah, this can bounce. And you're down a lot from, here, hold on, let me just say where you're at here. Yeah, you're not down 20% yet, but you're down off of that. So you can see a bounce. And I would trade it just like that. Just trade it like a bounce. right? I mean, I wouldn't do anything more than that, but that, you're in a pretty steep decline here, and you're below all your indexes. But yes, could this bounce? Absolutely, it can. XLF. So the financials you would think would be doing better, right? They're just sitting there. I think that you could see people buying yield yesterday, and that's why it went up. Right? People are just looking for a safe place to park their capital, probably till next week, and that's what you saw. If they don't want to be out of the market, they buy these kinds of names. JP Morgan right to the 50-day. Goldman. I mean, these are the big guys that are in XLE, right? Both are failing the 50. Maybe it goes, maybe it doesn't. But that's what you're dealing with right now. So just something to think about. Just something to, think of. I wouldn't be buying financials here. I mean, it's not something that interests me, Brett. Yep. I mean, that's another example of one that could probably work. I mean, I haven't looked at it, but this is what you want to see. And, the fact that you even have a green day, I mean, this is it. Like, Activision's not going out of business, right? So here we are, and we just came down to all this minutia and we stopped, right? We got all this nonsense right here, right? All this buying, all this congestion, and look where you stopped. I mean, that's really what you want to see, right? Now, you have the same exact pattern we just talked about. And, this is how I trade, just FYI. I mean, I'm all about pattern recognition, right? Someone will tell me later what they do half the time, but that's all I'm doing. And that's setting yourself up. So if you take out this high, what you have to realize is that RSI determines the magnitude of the move. So if the magnitude of the move accelerates, that means you're going to have the probability of going higher. There's no reason that this can't test this wick line of 67.19 if you get over this line. It very well could. Okay, that could definitely happen. Something to think about. And it's a trade. All you're looking for is trades. And you have to think about that right now. That's your goal right now, to just look for trades. That's all you're doing. You're not looking at building long-term positions here. I mean, that's where my head is. So NRP, GDP. Yep. So quick trades. I think that's where you got it. I think that's where your head's got to be, Shane. So yeah, I mean, I don't know the story why it's moving. Here's a couple key things that I would take away from this. You're probably heading back to this level. Why do I say that? Well, here's your 21 day and you're over that, right? So I can tell you right now, boom, right? So now you're over that, right? And you can tell that you're over that because this slows down, but we'll just throw it in there anyway so people can see that. Now, that said, let's get rid of these. Okay, there's your channel, right? So now that we've broken that channel, we can go to here. This is going to be a resistance point right here, right? You see how it rejected that 32.56 the whole time. So you're going to want to see how it acts there. And maybe you give it a day or two if it doesn't get through right away. And then if you see some kind of rejection, just get out of it. But could you trade this up? Yeah, absolutely. That could work. I like the other one better. I've got Wick City here, right? I just have wick after wick after wick. And look where they're rejecting. Right here. Give me 1 second here. I'll stay a couple minutes longer. But so what you want to see is, see how you have all those wicks right there? That's not what you want to see. That's not really where you want to have this lean towards or go. You want to see, full bars, and you're not seeing that. This one, you're seeing that, and that's really important, right? Like, that's a really strong move. I don't know how we were with volume. Yeah, I mean, you had decent volume there, but I think that that's really important. I like that one a lot more. Zim for yield. Yeah, I was actually surprised the way that ZIM sold down that one day after coming out with the news. The dojis always get me a little bit because it just shows uncertainty. But after that news, I was really surprised by the action, that it just didn't have more follow through. I mean, that's a huge number that they're paying in yield. And I think it's really smart what they're doing. But I do. Well, I don't know how you accidentally do that. So at least you're out. Now you just regroup. I mean, look, you don't know where Nvidia is going today. That might be a good sell. That might be the best move you did all day, Laura. Just, don't get emotional about it, right? When you get emotional about it, you make bad decisions. So just become detached. If it looks like it's going to bounce, you buy it back. I mean, it's not a big deal. I do it all the time. What's up, Jay? AMBA. So let's take a look at AMBA. And I was going to reiterate, as we're getting closer to the bell, your focus today really needs to be capital preservation. Don't think about today as a day to go out there and slaughter it. If you see opportunity, I'm not saying don't take it, but think tight stops today. Tight stops, smart decisions, thought out processes. The fact that you're below this is concerning. The fact that we broke down, had a position, and then hit here, you're right on a support level, a minor support level. So you need to hold that. But, just see some kind of reversal here before you get involved. I mean, I got like 100 lines on this chart. Let me just show you this too, because this is glaring to me. See that? See how you're breaking the 50 here? So you're just going to want to watch that, and now I'm trapped between the 21 and the 50. So where's your edge? You really don't have one. So I would hold off. Hey, Sandy. So, yeah, I mean, this complete rejection, complete and utter rejection. I mean, there's nothing to say. And what's crazy about this, what's troubling about this, even though this is in a flag, right, and this volume's proceeding, what's troubling to me is if we just kind of, let me just show it this way. It's not the cleanest one, but it's there. Those kinds of megaphone patterns denote that you're getting ready for a wild ride one way or another. I'm above all my moving averages, so that would lead me to believe that I'm going higher. But when I have a bar like this, that becomes concerning. So I'm going flat, and the RSI is kind of following along with that. So I would just stand fast. If you're in it, when you throw things at me, if you tell me if you're in it or you're trying to get in it, I can give you a little more clarity on what I would do. PANW, it needs to break out. Okay, it needs to break out. It tried yesterday and failed again, right? I think it's fascinating that this moved up yesterday and actually had a green day. Maybe it does move higher today, but I have all those wicks. Like here, let's just move this out of the way. And you can kind of go from there. If you don't subscribe to the channel, click the like button, because sometimes I start these at different times. See what's going on right here? Right? I don't want to be involved in that right now. Too many wicks. It can work. So Apple. All right, Ruben, let's go through Apple since we're wrapping up here. So this is the rejection. Okay. My concern is flipping that channel. So if you break below this line, this could get ugly. And that's what you're going to have to watch. You're really going to have to watch 161. It looks like across the board, they're trading it flat and trying to open things up, which just leads me to believe that we're just going to sell down on any rally. Let me just see what the leaders are doing. Hold on one second. Yeah, I mean, they're all rejecting their resistance lines. So we're going to have to really watch today. I'd be really careful about jumping in anything. Let me just finish with these. HD, LCID. So HD, Home Depot. Yeah, that's rolling. And you have a rising channel here. I'd be really careful with that right now. And this is starting to roll. So, and it looks like the buying's drying up, right? That's the beginning of it. Okay, go look at snow. It looks exactly like that when it rolled. So just be careful there. LCID. So, hey, look, you're in a trading range. Okay, this held up great considering, right? And you're in a trading range. Just let it play itself out if you're in there. There's no reason to do anything. You're still in the green bar is still in charge, right? You're still inside that green bar. So there's nothing to do. Yeah, you need to have a stop loss on that. Or unless because you could go back to 30 and a half. You're bidding up today, 4% or something on it, right? So, look, it's up to you, right? You're not taking out the low, but the fact that you're bidding up in a market like this, maybe there's news that's driving it. I don't know. But if you're bidding up in things, that you sell into the bidding up in markets like this, you don't buy more of it. So that's the type of environment you're in. Just be careful. ZI, hey, Ed. And here you go. So here you're at the 21 day. Yeah, you just got to watch this. I mean, I don't really see, Edward, I don't really see the RSI the same way. So I'll just show you what I see really quickly, and then I'm going to have to hop in the room. I see a break of the RSI before this has really broken. So that would concern me. And you better hold the 21 day because, you can just walk yourself down, right? You break the 21 day, expect to break the 50, right? Just walk yourself down like that. Oh, you're welcome, boss. Let me know, how I can help. Yeah, I mean, look, Sandy, you see it bidding up. Like, to me, if I'm long that yesterday and I'm like, oh man, I'm not selling it, or, I want it to go back higher, and I'm up today in something 4 or 5%, I am hitting the bid. I'm getting out of the way. I'm protecting my capital. This is not the day to go out there and try to make a killing. I can't stress it enough. I got to jump in the room. Everybody, trade sharp.